Welcome to Life in Alignment, the podcast for men looking to balance career ambition with personal fulfillment. Hosted by Naphtali Anderson, certified executive coach, trainer, and speaker. With a background in engineering and a passion for the arts, Naphtali has successfully navigated the corporate world since 2006, having led multiple teams and leadership programs. In each episode, we dive deep into the challenges and triumphs of finding meaning and happiness while navigating the fast-paced corporate world, all geared towards overcoming the challenges you face as a man. We explore confidence, leadership, and emotional mastery, providing actionable insights and real-life examples to help you thrive. If you've wanted alignment in your life, this is your podcast. Join us as we uncover the secrets to achieving inner peace, strong relationships, and authentic self-expression. Here's your host, Naphtali Anderson.
So one thing that I've been thinking about lately is acceptance, right? So people see acceptance as giving up or giving in, but what if acceptance is, when done in a particular way, right, is actually giving you more power to do something in that situation. When people are told to accept the situation, it can be taken as in like just accept defeat, accept that you have no power, accept that it is what it is. And I used to say that all the time. It is what it is, but not in a way of power, but in a way of I had no power. I had to just accept what it was, right? Because it's implied that we are powerless to do anything, that we should just stop trying. Just accept it, you know? Acceptance in that form that I'm just speaking about is very weak. It becomes another way to put yourself in this victim position. But this is usually the way that people choose to use the act of acceptance. It's the way that I chose to use it for most of my life growing up until I actually realized that there is a better way, different way, or even I would say the right way to actually accept a situation. But before we even get into that too deeply, what if we choose the other way, right? What if we just choose not to accept the situation, right? We refused to accept the situation. And what that usually ends up doing is that we end up fighting against reality. We end up fighting against what is. And we come up with all these destructive emotions because it's either some kind of level of anger or sadness, or sometimes it just boils into bitterness. But again, you still fall into this place of victimhood, right? Because you're saying things like, it's not fair, right? This shouldn't have happened. This is not the way life should work. This is not how things should be. And you're pushing away what is because it doesn't align with what you think it should be. And again, putting yourself in a place where it's someone else's fault, right? Somehow they ruined your life. Somehow, some way. And this is what I saw and also what I really lived, right? What I acted through as far as acceptance was growing up, right? I accepted a lot in my life. I accepted things that felt like it was continually just full of pain and suffering, just continually made me feel less than or not important, right? I accepted however I was treated. I accepted the thought that I couldn't do anything about it. This is just the way it is. This is just a reflection of my value. This is what is true. This is life. This is my lot to carry. So I must accept it. Don't expect things to get better. Don't expect things to change. Just accept it. Because to me, in that time, acceptance was the only way for me to try to have some peace about it. Accepting it was better than fighting it. But did I truly have peace? No. No, I didn't, because it never made me feel good about what was going on. And it made me feel like I was just so weak in the situations. But this was the only way that I knew at the time to keep going and just not focus on it. Again, what I said all the time, it is what it is. That was like my phrase for the longest time, good or bad. It is what it is. And just try to laugh about it. But eventually I learned, right, that different type of acceptance. I learned a different, a more powerful form of that acceptance, a place where I could move with clarity and, more importantly, with power, right, through that acceptance. And that's what I really want to share with you today. So, this type of acceptance, we have to first deal with the stories of the situation, right? Understanding that nothing has meaning until we give it meaning. And just because there's a meaning that most people would go to because of a certain situation, because of a certain obstacle, because of a certain action, because that's the way that your family thinks about it, that's the way that your country thinks about it. The fact of the matter is, it still has zero meaning until we give it one. Just because you decide to hop on the train of what everybody else is giving meaning to, right? The definition for this thing doesn't mean that it's right and doesn't mean that it's serving you. So we have to drop all the blame, right? We have to drop the thought that it shouldn't have happened. All right. Some people say, I think Tony Robbins says all the time, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And even changing that line and even just focusing on that, it forces you to change your story about what you feel in the situation, about what it means, what that situation means. Because then you can ask yourself, how is this helping me? How is this an opportunity for me to grow, to become stronger, to become more patient, to become more loving, to become more disciplined, to level up somehow? This is happening for me, not just to me. Nothing is bad until we decide to be a victim of it. And nothing is good until we decide to grow from it. Either way, it's all up to us, right? In the long term, what the outcome will be. But what about the now, right? What about right now, your feelings, that situation right now? Forget about long term. I need now because I'm frustrated now. And say you're in a situation, right? Say you're in a situation, maybe you lost someone in your family, or your best friend betrayed you, or you lost your job. Your mind is going to want to create a story. Okay. And that helps protect your ego and point out your enemies, right? Whose fault is this? Who's the one to blame? Who do I point all this aggression, frustration, sadness, fear towards? Right? You're going to feel that burst of emotion. Okay. And feeling them is fine. It's fine, but it's only fine for a period of time. You make a decision at some point to pause the stories. And then the next step is you have to look at the facts of the situation outside of the emotion of it all, right? What are the actual facts? All right. I accept the facts in the situation that my best friend made a choice that I truly didn't see coming at all and will probably damage our relationship forever. What do I want to do with this information? What do I want to do with the facts of this situation? I can try to understand their perspective of why they did what they did, or maybe, and, maybe we can reconcile. Or I can choose to not hate them, but also I don't necessarily want to be that close to somebody. I don't want somebody like that inside my inner circle. And that's a choice that I can make, right? Using my power, because the only thing that I can control in every single situation is myself. And I can just recognize that they had their reasons for doing whatever they did, and they did what was best for them, right or wrong. right? It just is what it is. Me saying that again, right? But the facts of the situation is I may not understand where they were coming from, but that's okay. I don't hate them. I don't judge them, but I no longer can trust in that same sort of way just because they've gone down a different path than I'm going. And in that way that you're right, you're accepting the facts. You leave the blame behind. Okay, because something that you could have done could have triggered that action in them. But you don't know what you don't know. You acknowledge your feelings about the situation, and then you just make a decision to take action on what you can control. In this way, it builds growth, right? It builds maturity. The blame and the anger will force you to build protective walls, okay, which only creates more barriers and buries your authentic self in fear of being hurt again. And that really gets you nothing at the end of the day. You lose out more and you become a slave and a victim to that situation, which was one time in your life, but now you are a victim of it for the remainder of your life because you're deciding your future based on that past action, that past situation. And you're not walking in that love and that openness, which breeds opportunity and connection with other people. And I say that from my own experience. From my own experience, I can tell you, even dealing with my dad and shutting down at a very young age, where I didn't even open up to my own mother. I didn't open up to my brothers. I didn't open up to my sister. And in that time, right, that was easier for me. And I didn't do it consciously, but I still did it. And all it did is keep people away from me because even when people would try to get close to me, I would walk away. I would leave. I would distance myself. Again, subconsciously, I didn't even notice that I was doing it until I really started raising my awareness. So that cost me a lot of time. That cost me over a decade, almost 2 decades of keeping people at a distance and not being able to have a true close relationship. And that's a lot of time. And that just left me in a very lonely place, even though on the outside it looked like, I had a lot of friends and all those things, but I kept everybody at a distance. You can choose to step into the situation with power, dealing with the facts of the situation. And that particular situation with my dad, I didn't have the maturity to even be able to realize that I had a choice in that situation. Right? It took me a long time to realize all my stories about what happened, about what that means for me, about what that says about my value, my personal worth, what that says about anybody that I let get close to me, that those stories are not all true. Okay, they're not true until 100% proven. Any story that is only 99% possibility of being right is not true. If there's 1% that this may not be true, then you have to be open to different possibilities. But still, then just even, without getting into everybody's mind, you won't really know what's going on and what they were thinking. You have your motives for everything that you do, and sometimes you may fly off the deep end, and why you may have done that, And even for yourself, there's some times where you're probably like, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I said that. And so if you can't even always know why you do or say something, how do you expect to always know everybody else's motives? And this is why we can't just believe these stories that are in our head. We can only look at the facts. The facts is you did what you did and you said what you said. The facts is they did what they did and they said what they said. Now, what do you want to do with those facts? You can find out more truth, or you can recognize that you're not sure, but you can still take action either way because that's your power. But I suggest that you always take action not based on your pain. Always take action focused on what you're trying to achieve, on the outcome that you desire most, not based on your anger, your frustration, your bitterness, because that is always going to lead to destruction. You cannot build a strong foundation with broken pieces. And sometimes, I'll be honest, you're going to have to sit with those emotions and you're going to have to just let it pass. Don't judge them. Just let it be. Feel them and just let them pass. And until you can get enough distance from them, don't make a decision on the action that you're going to take. This is how acceptance empowers you. This is how you can step into a place of peace, right? Not rejecting you, your emotions, how you feel, accepting the facts of a situation, but also step into your power to now make a decision to take some kind of action towards an outcome that you desire most. Acceptance can be very powerful when we use it correctly, but it has to be paired with all those things. I hope you definitely slow down, listen to this message today, and I hope it resonated with you and that, you really take the time to look at your situations and reflect on if you're living in a place of weakness, that victimhood, that acceptance, that you just can't do anything, or you're exercising your power. And if you enjoyed this episode, definitely throw a 5-star rating in there for me and leave a comment. I would love to just hear your thoughts. But until next time, this is Naphtali, reminding you that when you master yourself, you master your world. So be the revolution you need today.